So again, we think we've done it right, and we haven't done it right. I just hit the wrong one, the wrong button, and we turned on the wrong live. We started a whole new live stream, and I just have to go over there and just cancel that so nobody goes to the wrong place. Welcome, everyone. People from all over. I know you've come from all over. I just called out everybody's name from all over, but we've got people here from Southern Australia. We've got people here from Barrie, Ontario, and Bancroft, New Kensington, PA, from Maine, from Thunder Bay, from Ohio. Thank you all for showing up. Now, in the background, we have, not in the background, let's bring her on. We have Angie Wilson from Gnome Angel.
Hello, just lurking.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
I have obviously too many things to worry about because I have yet to figure out how to get this done right on the first time. I definitely need a producer to run these things for me. It is too many things to worry about at one time.
Yep. Especially when you've just come back from Holland.
Yes, it's hard to believe, but 24 hours ago, I had just arrived home from the Netherlands, and just crazy day in Amsterdam. It was absolutely fabulous in Amsterdam. I should say in the Netherlands. Holland, when you're talking about Holland, you're just referring to the area around Amsterdam and like Leiden and those areas. That's Holland and that's southern Holland. But when you're talking about the whole country, and we were spending our time in, a little place called Zuffen, and that's down in a county called Gelderland. Gelderland. So yes, it was a lovely, lovely trip, but glad to be home. Glad to be home.
Yep. I can imagine.
So did anything happen while I was gone?
Well, yes. So we worked it out the other day. We haven't been in our house 6 months yet, and we've seen 5 snakes. And the other night, a girlfriend was visiting from Canberra, and we were driving down the road that we're on, and we heard like a sound, like when a tire goes flat, and it's like that.
Yeah.
And it was like hitting the door, and we were kind of going, "Oh, what have we done?" Anyway, slows down, sound slows down, speeds up, sound gets a little bit more sudden. So we pull over, get out, and she's picked up a snake in her wheel, and it's been flicking around the wheel, and it's severed in half and on the road. Lots of took some photos, got back in the car, and when we got to where we were going, it was a white car, and it was nighttime. And when we got to where we were going, we parked in the car park, got out, and there's all blood splatter up the side of her car. And I'm like, you're going to have to clean that before you return it to the higher place. It was involved in the hit and run. So yeah, Australia, pleasant one day, psycho the next.
Did you get
So,
a
yeah.
lot of coverage of the Queen's funeral?
Oh, heaps. But because of the time difference, it was mainly at night time for us. So I've had a few late nights of watching. And look, I've got my little queen, a little corgi. Sorry, the glare's really bad. But yeah, it's been non-stop, and we've got our public holiday for the Queen's Memorial tomorrow. So yeah, it's kind of sad, kind of interesting, but yes. I guess you guys will be like us. Are you getting new money?
Eventually, it will have to come. The mint, good old King Charles is going to have to sit for his portrait for all that. Um, the mint needs needs work. Not a lot of people are handling change at the moment, so I think they'll probably look for that opportunity. And they our mint makes money for all sorts of other countries too. So,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering how many people, and put it in the comments if any of you made blocks, made any of your 100 days, 100 blocks while you were watching any of the coverage.
Um, Look at this one I made. Can you see the?
Oh, look at that.
So
That
it's
is
got the
lovely.
ER2. So yes, so that one's coming up.
And
So
where did you get the fabric?
um, this fabric is a Japanese novelty, and then this fabric's. Do you remember the Alice in Wonderland that Cotton and Steel did with Rifle Paper Company?
Yes.
That's the King and Queen of Hearts, and then the ER, and this is two eyes sewn together. Can you see I fussy cut that?
Okay.
Um, that's from a text print by Dear Stella, I think. But yeah, so this is my tribute that I'm gonna whack in there somewhere. But yes, because I can't imagine 70 years of doing the same job and 70 years of steadfast service. I just,
She did it very well. And I do, she's got a, she had the right personality. She did a good job. But I think we also have to remember she had support in making sure that it happened. Um,
yeah,
the whole funeral procession and everything came off because there was a ton of people who knew how to do their job and had been preparing for it, and all did what they were supposed to do,
yeah.
um, in sending her off. But yeah,
Tell me I'm not
kind of.
the only one that spent the whole time watching the costuming and just going, look at all the work that those people have done. Because all of those uniforms that have the ER2 on them all now have to be changed to the CR3. And so there's all that brocade and beading work, and I just spent the whole time looking at it going, oh, that skill set for one thing, and then the amount of dollars and time that it's going to take to swap all that over. And the beef eaters are my favorite, the guys who guard the Tower of London. But I said to Grant, I would hate to be, well, Grant's my husband, I'd hate to be in the seamstress division because they will be working overtime. But yes.
But think of the role that textiles played in her funeral,
Oh,
from
yeah.
the flag over her coffin, to the uniforms, to the care and detail that we noticed on all the attendees.
Yeah.
Textiles is so much a part of what makes it happen.
Yep. I remember because I'm a bit of a royalist. I find it fascinating, but I read a book on the last few days of Queen Victoria's reign, and it was about the funeral. And because she had reigned for so long, they had lost the etiquette manuals and things about what to do. And so they had to do it all on the fly. And then there was a rule in the UK at the time where they had to display black cloth for 12 months. So they would drape the front of buildings with black cloth. Women would wear mourning clothes for 12 months. An excess amount of black cloth was required. And because she had died, I mean, she was 101. So they say she died unexpectedly, but, well, she's getting up there. That season's colour was purple. So Britain had a whole lot of purple fabric in transit coming in from the colonies, and they had to re-dye it black. So the black had this purple undertone when it was draped over the buildings and all. And I just found it so fascinating that things that we take for granted now, and I guess COVID really taught us that textiles can be in slow demand, short supply. Um, and it had this massive impact on how they mourned as a nation because they couldn't get those textiles. But yes. all those sorts of nerdy things. And I love it when they do the coverage and they tell you things like, you know, in the wreath on the top of the casket was rosemary for Remembrance Day, oak leaves from the oaks at Windsor Castle, you know, her favorite flowers. There were flowers that symbolized different things. And yeah, I'm just a bit of a, like, I love all of that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. I think I wish I'd been in the UK in some ways, and then in other ways I'm grateful I wasn't. But yeah,
Can you imagine being one of the people that stood in line for 24 hours?
imagine if you were standing in line and you had no idea that when you got to the like front of the queue that Prince William or Prince Harry would be there, or that you would see King Charles there. Like, oh, you just come around that corner, I would have just gasped, I think. But yeah, um, I don't know whether I would have done it, and I'm a big fan, but I don't know whether I could have stood for that amount of time.
I'm not sure
But
if I've
yes.
shared this before, but when my husband's a Brit and I'm from Canada, and the Queen has been here many times, but the only time we both of us saw her in person was in New Zealand.
Oh wow. Yeah.
She was there on a visit. We were coming to Christchurch. I'm pretty sure it was Christchurch, and we were just on the outskirts, and we saw all the police, just the police presence, and we pulled up on a corner, and we were the only ones on the corner. So when she waved to us, and it was really quite magical. It really was.
Yeah.
It just seemed such a small thing, but it was a big thing. It
Yeah.
impacted both of
Yeah,
us.
it's a big thing. Yeah, it's funny. We talked about, because we lived in Canberra for so long, we've seen like presidents and um, we've seen other dignitaries and things like that come in, and it's a big joke in my family that I'm such a big royalist, but I've never seen the Queen. I had never seen the Queen. So, and when she was in Canberra, we weren't, and so I'm like, the one chance I had to see her, and we weren't there. But we've been, when we were in London, we went and did went to Buckingham Palace, went and saw the Crown Jewels, all of those sorts of things. But yeah, it just, again, something that took me by surprise when she passed to wake up to that news. But I'm grateful for the example she set. And it'll be interesting to see what the future brings for all of us now.
Yeah.
All that, we get to watch all that pageantry and appreciate. We appreciate the things that I think are easily lost. I like to think that there's sewists all around the world that spent the last week just admiring the handiwork of others. But yeah. But anyway, that's that's another wormhole to spear down. But yeah.
So, what has been going on with you and 100 Days, 100 Blocks this month?
I have been frantically sewing to try and get ahead because I'm behind. I've been putting my top together, so um, I want to finish this 100 days having it finished because I still haven't done last year's. Um, and I've been frantically working behind the scenes to get next year's done, which, you know, you might know a little something something about, but yes.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. I am pleased to say that I do have mine finished. So let me just show you a shot of it. So I did an all over pantograph for the quilting. It's just sort of flame like, and I'm actually very, very pleased with how it turned out. And I want to show you my label.
Oh,
It
ooh la la.
says 100 Days, 100 Blocks, 2021, and quilting with friends from all over the world. And I really believe that. All the all the encouragement that everybody gives each other is so important for me in making this quilt. It was just, there's a little part of so many different people in this quilt that inspired me, encouraged me, and I'm just, it's like a group project, even though I did all the work. There's a lot
It
of
was
behind the
totally like
scenes that help
this.
make it get done.
It's totally like a group project that you do in high school, where you're the one nerd that does all the work.
But everybody tells you how to do it. And I made an after quilt for it, and by popular demand, people have asked me to do a video about it. So I'll give the big reveal and everything of because I didn't use all my scraps, but I used a lot of them up. I got rid of a lot of them. I had proactively bought a big piece of fabric for it that somehow didn't work. It didn't cover the back when it came time to be done. So uh, Joette Warburton has asked, what block are we supposed to be on now?
I think it's 51. There is a free tracker that you can download from the website or in the course notes. But I am pretty sure it's 51. I'm like trying to what telescopic look to see because it's hanging on the board over there, but I think it is 51. I'm all right until we get out of August or July, the first month, because the blocks line up to the date of the month.
Yeah.
And then once we're out there, it's all bets are off, and I can't remember for the life of me. But I think it's 51.
Okay. I lost my blocks. I was supposed to give them. Brandy was going to post them for me because I had them done, but I lost them, and I'm happy to say I found them this morning. So you're going to start seeing them. I posted my first one, block 36, and then it turned out I realized I needed one more. I started on the wrong day. And then I lost them all. But the funny thing is, they were right where they were supposed to be. Like they were in. I had a project box, and that's where they were.
See what happens when you put stuff back where it's supposed to go? You confuse yourself. Linda's asking how many years has 100 blocks, 100 days been? This is our 7th year, but this is only the second pattern. So we've used this pattern for the last 4 years. There's a new pattern coming next year. It's very
and more
exciting.
On that later.
Yep.
More on that later. Okay, so let's just. I am turning off just a couple of screens here. This screen is very busy for me, and we have some pictures to share here.
We do.
We do. So let me just. I just want to make sure I've got everything off. So the first one that's being shown is actually one of mine.
Convenient.
This is from Royce Lamond. She has been very diligently sending me pictures of her of her blocks every single day. She has done so well, and she's using fabric that's in her stash to do it. And she showed me this one of the pink, and she said she's not really a pink person, but it's growing on her.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I don't normally drink on camera, and I just had a drink and forgot that I was on camera, and now I'm getting questions about what I'm drinking for breakfast. Yes, Royce has been absolutely diligent. Doesn't even begin to describe it. Every day I get a message from Royce with the quilt block, and it's a really lovely way to start my day. But yeah, I really love that for someone who says pink's not their color, this is a really good use of pink. The 3 different shades. It doesn't overpower you for a color, and I really like that it plays really nicely with the printed fabric, the floral in it as well.
Okay, so we're going to start with your first one that you sent me here. I've just got to find where I've left mine on here. Okay, so let me grab yours. So your first one says create and dream.
Yeah, so this is someone who's in the course, the free course, and they're appliquing words onto their blocks, which I think is a really nice and different touch, and a nice way to convey message through your quilt. Plus, I really like the black and white print that they've used.
We have a question from Mama Koala, one of my long-term viewers. I love you, Mama Koala. She says, fussy cutting leaves crazy scraps. What do you do with yours?
I will give me. Can you give me just? Give me 2 seconds.
So what I do with my scraps is I cut them up. I did a video last week on scrap processing, and sometimes because you're cutting out between the fabric, sometimes you can fussy cut those in between pieces because that's what's left over and you can do it again. And then sometimes it's really nice to incorporate it into other projects just by fussy cutting them. So I think my Jelly Roll block number 5 is, I showed one where I had taken a piece and just took all those blocks and just included them in. And they can, fussy cutting for anything can just add a little bit of oomph.
Yeah. So this is my So I'm working on our Free Block Friday quilt, the first one for next year, and it's going to be set on point. And the in between the blocks, we're going to just do straight fabric blocks of fabric. So I really wanted those blocks to have this print. Can you see? It's Kathy Doherty's print for Figo Fabric,
Right.
Kindred Spirits, because the quilt that we're doing is called Welcome to the Jungle, right? But the problem is this repeat is not that great, and so I'm cutting, like, I can't get a full 12.5-inch square of it. So I use my scraps, and I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this on the thing, but they're really good for pattern matching. Can you see where I've joined
Yep.
that one on there? So I often use the scraps to make another piece of fabric. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So see, that one's got it on there as well.
And
So
nobody will ever see it.
no, once it's quilted, that seam, like, yeah, you won't see that seam, and it allows you to get a more from your print. And I'm like you, I will use these off bits here. You'll see them pop up in my blocks that I make for the quilt. Will have these in them. So I'm a big fan of keeping your Swiss cheese and making a cheese pizza. I was like, what's a cheese dish? Fondue.
So the second one is from, it looks like Pollyanna.
Yes.
One
So
of
this
yours.
one, yeah, from the what do you call that thing? The course. So I took a lot of photos this time from the course, because I wanted people to see what's happening in that space as well. And Pollyanna, I don't know whether you remember from our first one, but Pollyanna is doing a very controlled palette. I think there's only like 3 or 4 fabrics in her choice, and she's done, I think, 3 solids and then this, which is one of my favorite prints, and I think it's actually a Liberty print. And so it's a really good way of demonstrating that you don't have to have every piece in the block be some big bold print and lots. You can get away with making a statement out of one fabric and complementary solids, and I really love that.
That's beautiful. Yeah, the next one is, I love this one. I thought when I saw when I first saw this, I thought they were Christmas balls, but they're pomegranates. I
Yeah.
thought this was one of our Christmas quilt makers. I
Um,
just love the fabric.
yeah, and that's I again big focal print, easy to get overwhelmed with, but they've used tone on tone blender fabrics to keep the focus on that big print, and I think it's a really good way of showing some restraint, which allows your print to really come to the front. Does that make sense?
Yep. Now, Mark Q has asked, what is the background glue in applique? There's a number of different ways you can do it. You can just use simple glue stick, but that what you're trying to do is not gum up your needle, because it's just a little bit harder to do with everything. But in a pinch, you can use that. But you use an applique fusible, and the one I like to use is FlexiFuse, but there are ones by Steam-A-Seam, and there's other ones, but be careful that you use one that's used for sewing. There's ones that you can use that are just iron on, and the glue will last forever, but they're impossible to sew through. They'll shred your thread. So look for something that's very light. And Julie S. has asked us, what is the trick to cutting around smaller templates? Do you use a small diameter rotary cutter? I think she's called in a spinning cutter. I'm not quite sure what she means by that.
Yeah, I wonder whether it was a spinning mat, a rotating mat.
So mat, maybe.
Yeah,
is that what you do?
Well, I use a 45 mil rotary cutter, so I don't swap. I use one rotary cutter for everything,
Okay.
but I use a very sharp blade because I change my blade regularly. The minute that blade starts pinching on threads, like not cutting all the way through, ditch it. And then what I tend to do is, if this is the edge of the template, I literally just push down on the rotary blade. So I don't spin it back or spin it forward, move it. I just put it straight down, and it'll cut the length of the on the small templates, the length of that corner. So, and then I just pick it up and I push it straight down on the next little engineered corner, and that way you're not cutting too much into the fabric around where you're cutting. And then I do use a rotating cutting mat, and my tip for the rotating cutting mat is, if you can't afford a rotating cutting mat, go to IKEA and buy their $2 Lazy Susan and pop a mat on top of the Lazy Susan. Because the rotating mat's really good if you're fussy cutting. You don't have to pick the templates up, or you don't have to try and spin your big cutting mat type of thing. So yeah, that's basically
I do use a smaller rotary cutter. I do like to use that smaller one. Okay, I'm going the wrong way here. Let's grab. The next one is by Frances Meadley. I believe that's from your group as well.
Yes. So I'm just trying, sorry. Mine showing. Yeah.
So it's IG number 4. Yeah.
Pollyanna again. Oh yeah. So Frances has done the two blocks, and again using a big feature print. But I really loved that the block side, because normally you don't see them side by side. You see them in someone else's shot, and then you see them in your shot. So you don't get that side by side comparison. But I think this is really lovely because it shows how different these blocks are from the same quilter. So she's achieved a completely different look between the two, but a similar feel, I guess. But yeah, and I just really love when people use big, bold, colourful print.
Well, this block really lends itself wonderfully to it. And talk about another big, bold, beautiful print. This is from Kathleen Fields. It looks like a Japanese print.
Yeah, and again, I picked this because I really love the big bold print. Um, and I think she's so this block in the pattern, every year it's one of those blocks where, and I do it consistently, where people use the same print and then just splice in that other fabric in there. And I think sometimes it's really interesting to see what breaking a print will do and where your eye focuses when you break that print. Um, and so this one's that sort of, she's used instead of splitting the print and then separating it, she split the print and then moved it. So, and that creates a different look again. And it's one of the tricks that they use in pattern design, like surface pattern designing, to create a repeat, is they move the one side to the other.
Yeah.
So it's a really lovely way to get impact. But yeah.
Oh, look at this kitten. You knew that. You knew that when you chose it. We were all going to go, "Aww."
Now, this is an Alexander Henry print, and we all know I have a soft spot for Alexander Henry. This one's really cute because I think you can see in the comment that she's gone for a peekaboo in the triangle, the flying
Right.
geese. But I think she missed a perfect pun opportunity to go for a peek-a-hoo in there.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
just love it.
But yeah, the kitten. Everyone loves a good kitten.
Is she making a totally black and white quilt?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a scrappy.
Just scrappy?
She's going just scrappy.
Oh,
But
that kitten is cute.
yeah, I know. And she does have some really fun blocks in there as well. But yes.
Here's a Christmas one. This is by Richard Houghton.
Yeah, or as I like to call him, King Richard, because he's got the crown as his icon. And so that's what I think every time I see it. And then I see the lion out of Robin Hood, the Disney animated film.
Yeah.
Richard's doing a Christmas quilt. And he's using really I was gonna say regal because I keep thinking of him as a king, but he's got like the gold metallic prints in there, and he's used some big fussy cut. You know who was it? They're with Moda, and they do the old vintage.
French General?
No, the vintage Christmas prints. Anyway, he's used them. They're very lovely, and it's a very restrained palette. And he's doing a Christmas quilt that I don't think is going to scream Christmas when it's done. Like, it's not gaudy or tacky or over the top, or it's really lovely. So if you can get into the group, check out some of Richard's other blocks.
Then this is Sue. Is it Sue Gee?
I think it's Sue Gee. And again, bright, bold colors. I like the little bird that she's used as a prop. And Sue's doing some really great scrappy looking quilt blocks again. So yeah, really lovely, fun, summery, and they're batiks. Every year someone uses batiks, and I think, I don't know why I avoid batik, but they just make it sing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now this is Janelle Downes.
Yeah, so I picked this one because I do love Janelle's blocks, but two, if you can read the comment in Janelle's comment in her caption, it just struck a chord with me because if you're like me, you're thinking about the fact that everyone's seeing one block at a time. And so there's this unspoken pressure at times that every block has to be, ooh, look what they did kind of thing. And it's great when the blocks are one after the other. But sometimes putting those blocks that are all, ooh, look at me, in a big quilt makes it difficult for those those blocks to play nicely. If everyone's a diva, no, actually I should say, keeping in the royal theme, I once heard a comment that said, we can't all be queens. Some of us have to sit in the gutter and wave as I go past. And I think there's some blocks in your quilt that have to sit in the gutter and wave at the other ones if you want them to stand out. And so Janelle's now lamenting the fact that she's made so many look at me quilt blocks. She's now having to work out that balance of what do I put in there to complement the other blocks. Right. So it's one of those things where I think if you can put the blocks up and have a look, around 50 blocks is a good time to start looking at how am I going to balance them? What are they going to look like? What color am I short on? What color have I overcompensated on? What blocks are screaming that need to be toned down? What blocks are disappearing that I want to bring forward? You know, all that artsy stuff.
Right.
Yes.
This is by Irene. You're gonna have to pull up the name. The print is just way too small for me. I think it's Menard.
Yeah, Irene Menard. I just included this one because I wanted to give you all the earworm for Baby Shark do 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 Baby Shark do 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 do. You're welcome.
I just feel so blessed that my children grew up long before the whole baby shark thing.
Because I was looking through the blocks and I saw this one. That's all I had going through my head. But the sharks are really cute on this one. And I'm not a big shark fan. But yes. Simple block done well.
Okay, so this one's by Sheila Snap Points, is it?
Yeah, possibly.
Saga Points. Is it Saga Points? Oh. I apologize. I need to put on stronger glasses.
Oh, is that Sherry? Oh, no. Hang on.
Sherry Lynn? Oh, it's Sherry Lynn. Yeah. Sorry, not Sheila. Yeah. Sherry Lynn, Saga Points.
Yeah, so I didn't know what Buckeyes were. So that she had me there and I had to go Google. And this is another one where she's used a very big print. That Dear John print from TULA is quite overwhelming when you see it in its totality.
Yeah.
And so I think using the other, I mean, she's been smart in the fact that she's used TULA's dots and stripes, which are designed to complement those prints. So in the way that she's used color in this block, your eye is drawn to those two yellow patches, but it's not overwhelmed with the yellow, which yellow can sometimes be a little bit bananas, pardon the pun. But yes. And it's Snoopy again. You notice she's got the Snoopy pin holding in her blocks? Yeah.
You've got two here from Cheryl.
Yeah, from Cheryl P. Yep.
I've just come from the Netherlands where they love to put VJFP all in the same word. And you're just going, how do you say this? So it's Flance?
Yeah, I don't know. Cheryl's using a llama print as her focal print in her blocks. And again, I included this one and I kicked in the other one because it's a really nice one too. But this one just made me laugh because it's just the butt of the llama. So this is what you do with those bits that are left over when you're fussy cutting and you've taken its head and used it in other blocks and you've just got its butt left.
Let's see the other block. Oh, whoa. Is that ever pretty?
Yeah. And number 43 can be a tricky block for people because it's not balanced in its design. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's heavy on those HSTs. It works really well as a repeat, and we've got a pattern coming out for it where we've done it as a giant repeat. But yeah, I really like that this one from Cheryl. Again, she's got those cactus in there. Cacti.
Cacti.
Paired with that really lovely floral. and a nice watercolor feel to it. But yeah.
I wonder if they're all from the same collection. They're quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, this is by Rose Woolston.
And again, it's the two together, side by side, completely different look. If my memory serves, Rose is using scraps for one of them, and then Australasian. Oh, is she using the, yeah? There is a theme to one, and then scraps to the other, I think. So again, it's giving you that controlled palette with the randomness, but it just same block, completely different feel. And I popped it in there for a bit of inspiration for everybody, because block 50 is not one of my favorite, and it's mine. I did it. I've only got myself to blame, but it always comes off looking like an F, and that's not what I thought of when I was doing it. But yes.
So we've got John Mcphails. A lot of people know him as Art East Quilting Co. And
Yep.
this is a beautiful block. I love how he has done the flat lay here, but it's actually one of his more subtle ones.
I know. And I included it because, quite frankly, that bananas print is one of my favorite. If you spend any time with me, you'll know that I say bananas a lot. And I don't know why, because I hate them as a fruit. But I love this print, and I love that the spots and stripes, and he's fussy cut those spots to give them the balanced stripe through it. Just play so nicely with it, and it's unexpected, and it's not in your face, but yeah, it's lovely.
So are those bananas TULA fabric, or are they somebody else's?
No, they're TULA. They're from her Monkey Wrench
Her
collection.
monkey wrench. That's on a cream background.
Yes, and these are little scale, and then she did the big bananas as quilt backing, which I bought a whole bolt of, and now we have bananas on our bed, which I just love. It amuses me. And then we used a banana panto for the quilting. But yeah.
Now, you and I both picked out one of Ruth's blocks. I let your block win here because her fussy cutting on this one was just delightful.
And her points are wonderful on this one as well. So the other thing too is it's a really good example. She's used the same fabric print, but in two different colors. So the blue and the green is the exact same print, just different colors. So and the repetition of the pots is a really nice use of fabric as well. Again, it's going to result in fabric Swiss cheese, but worth it, I think, for the.
Now, did she turn this block 90 degrees?
I think it's flipped.
Yeah.
And that might be she might be foundation paper piecing it, which is why it's flipped.
Okay. And Carol Wolf. Ooh,
Yep.
I like these ones.
Yeah, and Carol made me chuckle because she also hates the F in that block. So and she purposely picked her fabric so that the F would not show up. But again, bold prints, bold punch of color. It's TULA with that red and white stripe, to my knowledge, is not a TULA print. Oh, actually, it might be out of the new Stripes and Dots. But anyway, I don't recall there being a bright red one in there, but that doesn't mean there's not. Yeah.
Well, I think the next ones of yours have to do with layout. So let's just go to a couple of mine here.
And you're going to have to give me time. There's a time delay on when I can see these ones. So you speak a lot first.
Okay. So this one is by Dorothy Bear. She sent me this photograph, and I pulled this one. Not only do I love the colors, but she's taken a photocopy of, I think she's got them all on one sheet of paper, but she's cut them down, so she's attached a picture of the block and the block name to every single block to keep track of them.
Yep. Ooh. I like that lime green with the punctured.
Yeah, that lime green. She's done some nice ones. And we've already seen Royce's, so let me try this one. Now, Arlene, we saw them last month, but I just want to go on the record that Arlene is just killing it this year. Not that she didn't last year, but she is just doing some jaw dropping fussy cutting with her dots and stripes and everything. Um, and she's done a lot with black and white, but here she is doing something with the colors. And this one just kind of took my breath away.
Yeah, it's like she went, here, hold my beer, and went on to everyone's butt. Yeah, I mean, they're just. I want TULA to release that as a fabric design, quite frankly, because
Yes,
there's something
yes.
so nice about the split circle and the punch of color, and yeah,
I was
yeah.
actually like, it took me a second to realize this was fussy cut because it just looked
Oh,
so good.
yeah, yeah, because it looks cohesive as a print, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just everything about what Arlene's doing this year is just amazing. It's like she went last year was like a warm up, and this year she went right, and I'll show you how it's done. But yes,
Now, this one I chose. This is from Quilted Owl. She has paper on the back, so I'm wondering, is she paper piecing her blocks?
I'd assume so.
Yeah.
I usually with paper piecing, the thing that gives it away is that there's usually bulkier seam, and it's because obviously they've got the paper in there at times, and their edges tend to be a lot crisper than those that are piecing them, because when we piece them and handle them, they tend to fray. So a lot of times when people take the photos, they don't clean up the edges before they take the photo. But with paper piecing, they've had to clean up the edge to get rid of all the paper.
Right.
So usually a little bit crisper than
This is
piece.
crispy, and I
Yeah,
love her little dish with the two pins in it.
yeah,
Now, this is another one that um, has been on our radar before. This is Ocean Crow Studios. I'm just going to move us so everybody can see where. Can I move us? Yes. She is just fussy cutting. She's taken it to another level as well. And I included this block because she's taken the cutoffs and she's done a bonus block with them.
yeah, yeah. She's another one who's just kind of gone, oh yeah, you want a taste of this? Um, and I think part of me is like, ladies, you should come do my job. I'll just do the copy and you guys do the pictures and the blocks and I'll be happy. But yeah, it's just I could have picked all of her blocks and gone, go have a look at it. You know, she's picked a theme that obviously is close to my heart because last year I did nautical as well. The fussy cutting's on point. Just yeah, everything about it. The
Yeah.
the fact that she's done a blue block and a white block and like yeah,
She's done a great job.
yeah.
Now this one got on my radar because I love the Lego numbers. This is by Tortoise Quilts. Now I think she did a variation on the block here. I think she's turned them into sort of like cat heads as opposed to um, uh, what is this, Star
Yes.
Wars?
So it's not there's no change to the block construction, if you know what
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah,
It's just through her fabric choice and placement, she's changed the look of the pattern. Which quite frankly is what this is all about. Like this is go out there, have fun, move everything around, change it. Don't feel constrained by what's in the pattern. And so I love this. But yeah, it does look like two cats gonna go in.
yeah. What's not to like about this one? This is so Elizabeth. This one just looks like candy cane delight. And I like the way that she's used the cap with the numbers as well.
Yeah. See, people, I think we underestimate how much the what do they call it, paraphernalia around the blocks comes into play as well. I think from memory, she's doing her sashing as she's going, isn't she?
Yes, yes.
That's why yeah. And she's used a plaid. I can't use plaid, and I am so in envy of people who use plaid, um, because I can't. It always shows up how wonky my stitching is. But yeah, it's just lovely.
Number 50 is my quilting nook. Who doesn't love these bears?
Um, my aunt went to Canada and she bought him back a shirt that says, "What doesn't kill you will only make you stronger, except bears. Bears will kill you." I'm like,
Well, when I was in Holland, we went to this Canadian Legion, the only Canadian Legion that exists outside of Canada. And the place was filled with bear stuff, bear
yeah.
salt shakers, bear things that I felt like saying, you know how many people in Canada have never seen a bear?
But then I was thinking about it during the I hate to go back to this, but the funeral, the dudes with the really big, and there's some name for them, but the big fuzzy black hats, that's bear fur.
That's bear.
Where did they get bear fur in Britain? Like, but yes, anyway. Yeah, those bears are from Sarah Watt in her cotton and steel unicorn collection, and they are
Oh,
very
wow.
cute. I think, or they're either they're the motor ones, but yeah, someone's done them. Love a good bear.
So Christine Walker is after my heart. Her theme is coffee cups, and just wonderful that she has so many fabrics with coffee cups in them. But I'm really enjoying her blocks.
As we've covered already, I've never had coffee, so
Do
my
you drink
husband is a
tea? Do you drink tea?
no. I've never had it. So I've never had coffee, never had tea. Growing up in the tropics, so we're in. For anyone who doesn't know the geography of Australia, we're in a tropical climate akin to Florida, I think Hawaii in America, and so um, I didn't grow up needing hot drinks, which is why at 9 o'clock in the morning I'm drinking Coke Zero with ice. But I can appreciate a very nice coffee cup, and we have a collection of a few, and this is very lovely. I do like the skull coffee
The
mug with
skull
the
ones
dagger.
on top. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and the
like how she,
spoons.
yeah.
Yes.
Now this one I chose. This is Jennifer Neld one. Her fabrics are almost reading as solids. They're fairly low key, not bright patterns, not tricky, but just amazing how just fussy cutting one element in it can elevate that block. And that band across the middle, and the simple contrast between the lines and the crosses. I just think this is a lovely block.
And it's a brown too, which a lot of people avoid brown, but I think a brown can be really impactful when done properly, like this is. And it's that difference in textures in this block as well.
And Gillyflower Creative, she has this bright, beautiful fabric that's going through all hers. The suns, I don't know how, you just can get sucked into all of these blocks, but this is her favorite of mine so far.
I am just waiting for it to turn up on my screen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's lovely. Oh, that's so happy.
Now, the next one, this is on Fifth Avenue. Now, you take a look at that fabric in the middle, and that has a very antique feel about it. You might almost think of a old style dishcloth or whatever. But what I like about this one is her comment on it, is that she was saving it. she was going to do something special with it. And then she realized if she didn't start doing something now, her good fabrics were never ever going to get used. Like, when is she actually going to use these good fabrics?
Yeah.
And she threw it in here, and I think it's just lovely.
Yeah, so this is her ones from last year, but it's one, I've got a collection of prints with houses and farmy scenes in them that I've collected over the years because I want to live in that fabric. Like, I just want to, but yeah, it is that thing of, we all do it. We all save fabrics for the special occasion. And I like to have a sign up that says, this is the special occasion. Use it now. Because if you don't use them now, you're not guaranteed your next breath. So, might as well use them and enjoy them while you can. And if something should happen to you, you want the good stuff left behind for people to use.
So I think we are at the 1 hour mark, if you can believe it.
I can.
I'm going to show one more, and then I'm going to let you talk about next year's. And my last one is from Bridget Gap Studio, and it's this iCat butterfly from TULA Pink, which I'm always thinking,
Oh,
how do you use it? Where do you use it? Whatever. And she's put it on its side, and it's a good place to use it. Let it
yeah.
get all the
And
attention.
this is why this quilt pattern was designed the way it was, is that we wanted people to use those big prints that you get all the time because you love them. And then in traditional patchwork, if the block finishes at 6x6, how are you going to get a massive print in there? So yeah, this is just stunning, and that print is so impactful, and such a lovely way to use it as well. But good choice.
Okay, so you have been working so hard behind the scenes. I am going to let you talk about what's next.
So I hope you all know that this is the last year we're using kinship, that we're going to move on to a new quilt next year. And we've hinted around it, but we've not actually officially said it. But Karen and I collaborated on next year's quilt pattern design, and Karen's done 50 blocks and I've done 50 blocks. And next year we're going to do blocks that range in size. The smallest one is 2 inches by 2 inches finished size, and the largest ones are 8 inches by 8 inches finished size. And then it's everything in between in sizing and look and feel. And we've designed the quilt with beginners in mind for this quilt that you're going to see next. But we've also done something really exciting, which we'll announce and share with you later on. That's for the intermediate confident sewists that are looking for a challenge. So next year is going to be a really exciting adventure, basically. And because we love you, and I can't sit on it any longer. I don't know about you, Karen, but we've got some mock-ups of what the cover quilt will look like for next year.
Okay, let me
So
show you here. Let me just turn off the last one I had here. Where is that one? Let's turn off me
we
here.
know I can turn
Okay, so this is the 2 colorway.
the 2 color.
Let me just turn that back. Yeah. Here we go.
So we've used our colors to delineate who did what blocks, and so the stuff in the it's teal color is Karen's blocks, and the stuff in pink is mine, and then we've done the blocks along the middle. Karen's done 5 and I've done 5. So and this is the quilt that, I feel like I'm revealing my baby. There should be that music from Lion King where they hold up the monkey, not the monkey, the lion. But yes, this is the blocks. So the blocks are the blues and the whites, and then what we're going to do is they're framed in this setting so that they float in amongst color, basically, or print, or whatever you would like to do. The thing that is going to be interesting is that this allows for a lot more play for people for putting the blocks together, if you want to do your own setting and your own layout. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm going to show them the colorway, okay?
Yep.
Turn on the color.
I could not do rainbow.
Now, I understand that the graphic designer did this for you without even you asking for her.
Yeah, so
She
Shauna and
knows
I
you so well.
Yeah, worked together for 5 years, and I do rainbow and everything. And so when she sent through the drawings for us to approve, she was like, I've done your rainbow version. And I'm like, it's perfect. Don't change a thing. So yeah, it's just, it is, I mean, everyone loves a good rainbow. But it gives you an idea of the flexibility in that setting, for how those blocks can look. And this time round, we're going to teach people some different foundational units. So there's like, I think in kinship we just did half square triangles and flying geese, and in this one you're going to learn a square and a square, and a pieced half square triangle, and there's another one. And something else. So we teach
Hourglass?
Quarter square triangle, that's right. We're going to take the skills that you've learnt in kinship, and we're going to just step them up another notch, so that you're constantly building and growing. And so I'm really excited, because I think when you get out of this 100 days, your piecing skills are going to be so, dare I say it, on point. And you're going to have that next evolution of skill set as well. And then for those of you that are confident already in those skills, we're going to offer you a little bit of a challenge.
What did we call it? We decided to call it Bananas and Bonkers.
Like I said, I like bananas. Yeah, it is very bananas. But we're affectionately calling it the expansion pack. So if you wanted to get the expansion pack, it will take your skills again up another notch, and it'll reveal something about these blocks that we hope you get excited about. And yeah, I'm really freaking out.
Yeah. And if you want to know more, we are going to let me just see here. This is not showing up for some reason. Why is that not showing up? Okay, we've got another thing that's not working up. We have a Q&A for the Panama Cruise, and we're also going to be teaching the course on the expansion pack, as well as the foundational skills on the cruise. So that is on October 7th at 7 p.m. In North America, well, in Eastern Standard Time. And what time is it in Australia? It's the next morning.
Yeah, it's like 7:30, I think, from memory.
I think it's 8. I think you're an hour. I think you're 13 hours ahead, but who knows? We've got it up. We have it in the thumbnail. So mark your calendars for October 7th when we explain more.
Yeah, and we should say, if you are coming on the cruise, you're going to get something exclusive about 100 days next year in this quilt pattern that nobody else is going to get. So, and you'll get to see and touch the quilts that we've made for next year, like for this pattern. And so, yeah.
Okay. So I think we've got to wind this up. It is 8:07. Our next live will be on October 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have not watched it, I have a video on bonus blocks out there, and last week's video was on scrap processing, how I processed all the scraps at the end of my 100 days, 100 blocks. So thank you, Angie, for
Thanks for having me.
being here again. It's been lovely. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I see all your comments. It's just lovely how you've been talking and encouraging everyone. Um, uh, well done job, everyone, on the blocks that are being made. They're absolutely amazing and very inspiring. So, sorry? Anything? Any last words?
Jeez.
Jeez. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here. It's been lovely having you, and I hope to see you next month. So take care.